Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the July 11th, 2020 Pro Wrestling Throwdown. I am Caleb Black. This is Luke the Big Dog Williams. Our in-studio producer, Max Fury, is not here right now. He is on vacation with his family in France. We wish him the best. Happy belated 4th of July to all of our fans. Big Dog, how was your 4th?
Long.
Yeah?
Very long, but I'm glad to be back. I miss this room. I miss talking wrestling.
That's right. And we have got a lot to cover. We have 2 weeks worth of content to break down. We've got the Great American Bash. We've got Fyter Fest. We've got 2 Raws, 2 SmackDowns, 2 Impacts. Whole lot of news going on, and that's what we're going to get started off in What's News in Wrestling. Luke, FTR has some heat.
Yeah, they do.
The AEW locker room for having attended Jim Cornette's podcast. Well, what do you think?
I think, honestly, as far as heat goes, they're not under contract.
That's
right.
They're
not under contract as far as I'm concerned. No one can tell you, shake your finger, and tell you they're going to spank you for what you have to say.
Agree.
Also, that's what they wanted. They wanted FTR because FTR makes news, make headlines.
Yes, sir.
With whatever they do, whatever they say, it's going to sell.
Yep.
And if you don't have anybody locked down like how Vince has The Undertaker locked down.
Right.
If you don't have FTR locked down to a contract, you
don't get to say nothing.
Exactly. You don't get to dictate anything that's said.
Exactly. And honestly, the way they are, we already know they're brash. We already know we already know they know they're the best tag team in wrestling today. Let them talk to whoever the hell they want.
Well, and here's the thing. If it would have been on a Meltzer podcast, AEW wouldn't have had anything to say about it.
Exactly. It's only because it's Cornette.
Yep.
And I love Cornette. There is absolutely no secret and no shame that I am a member of the cult of Cornette. Pledge allegiance to the pro wrestling. Thank you very much.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Other news we got going on. Looks like some of the WWE furloughs are starting to end. WWE is calling back some of its agents, even a couple of talents.
We are under 4 days.
Yes, sir.
4 days away from 4 days away from Fight for the Fallen.
Right.
Which just so happens to be the day of
the end of
all of these people being like,
hey, compete clauses.
Had enough of that unemployment line.
Had enough of the bread line, baby.
Who's going to grease this palm?
It's time for Daddy to make some blood money.
Yeah, let's make some money.
I am so excited.
Blood drinking time,
it's
Daddy.
Blood drinking time, Daddy. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens at Fight for the Fallen. They could have a lot of wild cards up their sleeves. And in fact, with Slammiversary coming up next week, we could see a lot of big debuts other than the ones that are rumored at TNA.
Right.
It's going to be this summer.
Well, and then you could also look at the fact that Extreme Rules is next weekend.
Yeah.
You might be seeing people come back.
Yeah.
I mean, with everybody planning on...
Yeah.
Well, SummerSlam's going to be indoors without fans again because that's just how that has to happen. WWE is planning on September letting people back in.
Yep.
Now, that means that they're planning on revenue. Lots of revenue.
That's what we want.
There are lots of contracts being offered back out to people to be like, hey, you're going to go to Impact? You're going to go to... No.
Yeah, no. Come home.
We can pay you what you want.
That's right. Other news we got going on, looks like that Naomi was unhappy with the previous karaoke segment.
I'm glad to know that because so was I.
On SmackDown this previous week, which we will get into as we go on. Mm-hmm. I love when wrestlers speak up about bad angles. I love when wrestlers actually have something to say. And frankly, she's right.
Karaoke contest had Bruce Pritchard's name written all over it.
Yeah.
Which we've talked about.
Continuing on with more things people are unhappy about. There were confirmed cases of COVID-19.
Yes.
Ran rampant through the NXT locker room, and the AEW roster was affected as well.
Several members of the WWE head roster as well.
Which Taz would later take a shot at about WWE running a sloppy shop at a promo 2 weeks ago, which the WWE, took exception to. But again, they run their things a little bit more tightly. I think it's interesting to notate that their fan audience now did not wear masks in relation to the shows, whereas the NXT guys' audience members did.
Yes.
But, with everything being pre-taped, it's really hard to know the timeline of when things are affecting people or when things are changing.
Right. I mean, and, they want to say that it's a sloppy shop and everything, but the worst case scenario, no one knows exactly how this travels.
Right.
We were told it travels on surfaces, and then we were told it don't travel on surfaces. Yeah. And it was airborne, now it's not airborne.
There's a lot of misinformation, and it's difficult to know how
just
it's being
because
spread.
Somebody got it and it spread doesn't necessarily mean it was because of negligence.
That's fair. And that's more than fair, yeah.
So to go out on TV and be like, it's because you run a sloppy shop, it's not fair.
It is nice to see companies, still taking responsibility and taking action, making sure they try to keep their people safe.
But again, it's not fair to go on TV and be like, it's because you don't run a good show.
Yeah.
And this, that, and the other. It has nothing to do with it.
Well, I agree with that to an extent. Obviously, because of the COVID, there were some changes. John Moxley did not defend the AEW Championship as he was scheduled to against Brian Cage. That match has been rescheduled for Fight for the Fallen.
The 15th of July.
Interesting to notate, though, that Moxley's had a very unfortunate run in AEW of having big matches that have been billed and then just a sickness or illness or a calamity getting in the way of that. His debut, the match that everyone wanted to see him against Omega the first time, had to be rescheduled. He was out for a little while because of his elbow.
Him and Jericho
had to be pushed back. So hopefully, we are going to get the Brian Cage Moxley match. But I want AEW schedule to stay on track.
The sad part of everything is that the longevity of this run.
Yeah.
Who's he really wrestled? I mean, if you think about title defense wise, he defended against Jericho.
Yep.
Okay. He defended against Swagger or Hager.
I don't think he defended the title against Jericho. I don't think Jericho got a rematch. I think he won the match.
Maybe you're right. Maybe he didn't defend against Jericho. Okay,
somebody out there let us know in the comments below.
But Swagger for sure.
We don't have our in-studio producer to look it up. On vacation in France.
Him and his Bangladesh roots. But no, I mean, okay, so Swagger for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, who else?
Brody Lee.
Harper, Brody Lee. Who else?
I think that's it.
Exactly. He's been champ how long?
Several months now.
Since September?
September? No, it hasn't. Has it been almost? Yeah, I suppose
because he was supposed to defend the title against Jericho at that one pay-per-view, and it got pushed.
Yeah.
So
in his run as champion, he hasn't had a lot of
maybe three title defenses. If that,
unless they did something on AEW television that we're not talking about. Obviously,
which
he could have defended the belt against Janela or Sammy Guevara at some point for just a TV title match. But I don't think there haven't been that many big build main event title matches for him.
No. Well, and if you think about it, the last couple months, because of the fact he's been out, the more focus has been on the Elite versus the Inner Circle and building the stadium match and all that there wasn't a championship build. There just wasn't one.
Yeah, I agree. Well, folks, we're sure that's a lot of news that we didn't cover these last couple of weeks, but those are our headlines right now. Let us know if we missed anything in the comments below. Let us know by finding us on Facebook at facebook.com/ProWrestlingThrowdown or sending us an email at ProWrestlingThrowdown@gmail.com. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We need those subscribers. And stay tuned, because we're about to recap a whole lot of wrestling for the last 2 weeks. Stay tuned for the Raw recap coming right up.